This girl could have died like millions of other African children, but fate gave her a chance. 10 years ago, this baby from Uganda was adopted by one of the richest and most famous couples in the world, Thomas Rhett and Lauren Akins. She went from living in an orphanage to residing in a luxurious mansion in Nashville, Tennessee. So, how has her life turned out since then? And what does she look like now? Watch the full video to find out. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. Let's get started. Uganda is one of the poorest countries in the world. Right now, there are more than 2 million orphans there. Many of these children live on the streets and don't have enough food, clean water, or education. 10 years ago, an 18-month-old baby named Willa was one of these orphans. She lived in an orphanage and was emaciated from hunger. If no one had helped her, she probably would have died. Even if she survived, she would have faced a very tough life, like working in the fields. But one incident changed her life completely. American author, podcaster, and philanthropist Lauren Akins decided to adopt this baby in 2014. At that time, she had been married to Thomas Rhett since 2012. The couple had been trying to have a baby without success and had just started considering adoption. Lauren was actively involved in a charitable mission in Uganda with 147 million orphans. When she saw the 18-month-old girl, she was immediately captivated by her. Everyone thought the girl was an orphan. It was reported that her mother died a few days after giving birth. Some sources said the mother died from bleeding, while others said it was from AIDS. The girl's father was unknown. The only person who had cared for her was a kind-hearted woman who had found the baby abandoned next to a garbage bin. This woman, despite her own meager means, took Willa into her home, a small, run-down shack in the sun-scorched town of Karamoja. This shack was barely more than a room with leaking walls and no electricity, with a small burner for cooking outside. Life there was harsh, and the woman's resources were scant. For 4 months, the woman did her best to care for Willa, but with just $11 a month to sustain them, it was clear that she could not provide the nourishment the baby needed. Faced with this heartbreaking reality, she made the difficult decision to take Willa to an orphanage, hoping that there, the baby might receive the care she desperately needed. After that, there is no information about what happened to the woman. In 2014, Lauren first met the 18-month-old girl who was called Blessing in her home country. She took a photo with the little girl and sent it to her husband, Thomas Rhett, who was on tour. In the message, Lauren wrote, "She has no family and no one to take care of her. Her only place to stay is the children's home unless someone gives her a new family. I think we should help her." Thomas Rhett replied, "We'll do it." With those words, the couple started their year-long adoption process. They quickly found out that making Willa their legally adopted child was much more complicated than they had expected. Uganda's adoption laws required them to take care of the baby in the country for a whole year. This meant they had to travel back and forth to Uganda nearly a dozen times. Each trip was uncertain in length due to legal requirements, and every departure was filled with tears and goodbyes. During their visits, the couple stayed with Willa in a guest house near the children's home. They did their best to care for her while they were there, but each time they had to leave, they had to return Willa to the children's home. Back in America, their lives took a delightful turn as they found out they were expecting a baby girl, due in August. This new development meant Lauren's window for travel was closing. In March, they finally got some good news. They were getting close to being able to bring Willa home. Lauren, who was nearing the 3rd trimester of her pregnancy, traveled back to Uganda again, this time with her mother, hoping to return with a toddler in her arms. As the days passed and they dealt with the paperwork, Thomas Rhett flew out to join his wife for the 1 week he had off between his shows. Almost a month after Lauren arrived in Uganda, they received the news they had been waiting for. Willa would finally be legally theirs. "I think the judge knew my time was running out. Bless his heart. I'm so thankful. I wanted to run up and give him a big hug when he handed down the court ruling," Lauren says. "He changed her life and ours," she explains. "The judge knew how long we had been working with the children's home and understood that our family is connected to Uganda. He knew we would be back. but there was a time when I thought I might be stuck there forever. Lauren knew they were nearing their happy ending, but finishing the last legal steps of the adoption put her pregnancy in a risky situation. It had been just over 6 weeks since my last checkup, and I didn't want to think that something could go wrong. My doctor really wanted me to come home and make sure everything was okay, she says. So, with only days left before Willa would be ready to travel, Lauren had to go back, leaving her mother to bring the toddler home. Lauren's dad, an airline pilot, joined her mom in Uganda, and together they traveled the 7,000 miles to Nashville with their new granddaughter on May 11, 2016. This was the start of a new chapter for Willa, who went from being an orphan in Uganda to joining a loving family. One day she would be known to the world and inherit a fortune from her parents. Lauren remembers seeing Willa for the first time when her parents drove up to the private hangar where they met. Seeing her there felt like a dream, she says. Today, Willa is 10 years old and is the oldest daughter of Thomas and Lauren. She has 3 younger siblings, Ada James, who is 6, Lennon Love, who is 4, and Lily Carolina, who is 2. Willa enjoys going fishing with her uncle, Luke Bryan, and skiing with her family. Her dad, Thomas, often tells his fans how well Willa is doing in school and how her personality is growing. Just like her famous dad, Willa is also good at singing and writing songs. This story shows that a real parent is someone who gives love to the child, not just the one who gave birth. Do you agree with this statement? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to O Channel for more. As always, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.